Okay. So now we've talked about what? We've talked about if the graph of AS is given and you want to get V versus S. What you're going to do, you get the integral of A, okay, or the area underneath the graph in order to get V delta V square, or V1 square minus V naught square times 1 over 2. Where does this come from? It comes from this relationship that we have derived earlier. So we know where this comes from. VdV is equal AdS, right? If you don't want to know where this comes from, you just memorize this, okay? So that you know if you have AS, I can get delta V square, okay? Okay, we move into, if you have no question, we move into if I have V versus S. Can I plot A versus S? Yes. How? Okay, if you have V versus S, and you make use of, again, the same relationship that we've just now made use of, we've made use of AdS is equated to V times dV. So if you have this relationship, how are you going to get V? How are you going to plot A? You have A, so just move ds to this side, okay? So you're going to get A is equated to V times dV over ds. Okay, so what is meant by this? It means that the acceleration for each point is equal to the velocity times change of velocity with respect to ds at that position. Okay, so that means we have the velocity times the slope of the graph. Velocity times slope of the graph. So if you want to get the acceleration, if you have Vs and you want to get the acceleration, you can get it easily by making use of this relationship. Okay, where this comes from? It comes from this relationship. If you don't want to know where this comes from, you can memorize this relationship. If you want to understand it, you have to know this relationship. Okay, so you just make use of AdS is equal to VdV. If I have V, then I can get A. If I have V plotted, V versus S is plotted, yes, I can get A. A is equal to velocity times the differentiation of V with respect to T. Of course, sorry, with respect to S. This is a function of S position. It's not a function of time anymore, okay? Any question up to now? أما بس علاقات يعني بس بله.
أستاذ شوازة كان بس أو بين شوازنا يعني V و S و V P.
Exactly. شوازكاني يعني ما بس علاقة أو ريليشن شيباني كأستخدم من؟
بله.
بس أما لقال أما لقال أما لقال أما لقال أما.
أجر أوين أنا بقول من أي في درابو يعني سياسة كيا يعني أو كسر دي رازبي.
أجر شي بيت؟
هودان وخيراي درابون يعني لجياتي أيو إس يعني أيو تي هودان وخيراي.
هودان شيء. هودان شيء هودان.
acceleration.
acceleration لقال شيء؟
هودان. خيراي.
velocity. Okay. أجر acceleration velocity إيه؟
أجر أوانا درابون بونو من أو هالقارية أيو تيا. أجر بونو من أيو دي. هيتياسك بوهاي أكو بشين.
نا خوي أي نا سيخا خوي أي يعني علاقة هي لقال time يعني لقال position وانيا أي.
يعني time ما يوم position.
أجا أي كلا لقال position بو دشي تخواروا دشي تأواني كاليرا ديمان أما أجر أي أسي داوا تو أتواني فيا كي دركي بمياسايا. أوكي أجر أيكي نيابه نفياكي يابه دتواني لفياكا أيكا دركي. أوكي أما لحالتي أي فياكا بأس هين كراو يعني is versus S لقال S آية يعني with respect to position. Okay, as a function of position is not a function of time. There are acceleration and velocity. They are not functions of time. They are functions of position. تيجي بلام اگر acceleration و velocity و position function of time يتسر ام ياسانين خوي تيجشتنا نازم بيك ياسا يعني ناوي انين ياسا بس ياسانين definition اما basic definition velocity change of time change of position with respect to time ياسانية يعني basic definition of velocity تعريفي velocity اوكي اما بتعريفي acceleration change of velocity with respect to time اوكي واضحة ان جاء away velocity with respect to time acceleration with respect to time position with respect to time يعني لا اسوا achieve velocity ولا velocity و achieve acceleration كهمو differentiation يعني بعكسه ولا acceleration او achieve velocity ولا velocity او achieve position كهمو integration عكس كي integration لسروا بوخواروا differentiation لخواروا بوسروا integration ما بس شمشي لسروا بوخواروا يعني قداينه position دعوة velocity area acceleration area او لسروا بوخواروا يعني لاسوا بو اي بو في اتش لفيو بو اي اتش او شيء كي differentiate كي equation كان يا sloppy graph كان درك بلام اگر لا اي دابيه اي versus t او كاتا تشيليه لخوارا وبوسروا انتجريشن اوكي اوكي وبالنسبه velocity و acceleration اگر with respect to time with respect to position بيه ام دو علاقه بكارهن ام كوني اما واما okay that's all okay to solve erratic problems we have to understand those relationships. And if you don't want to understand them, you can memorize them. But you have to understand it. It's easier to recall it. It's easier to recall it. Okay? يعني بأساني يتوبير if you understand it. يعني definition velocity تبقى definition acceleration تبقى with respect to time. شيء ده زاني integral يا integration هنا differentiation يا integration وانيا هنا كان mathematically وانيا Tegishton? No questions? If no questions, this would be the end of today's class. Tomorrow we practice some examples. I can answer your questions by tomorrow. Okay, for today, I think that would be good enough. You can ask. If you have no question, I take your attendance and we that's it. That would be the end of today's class. Shall we take the attendance or you have a question? Please, if you have a question, let me know. If not, I pose